Hello, David Blyth, Paranormal NZ. Today's episode involves a woman who's had a lifetime of psychic experiences leading up to UFOs above the house. Many of us have only had one or two experiences, and it's always interesting to see where there's been a lifetime of experiences, and in this case her son has inherited many of her psychic traits.
I was born in Glen Eden in Auckland, yep. I'm a Westie, proud Westie. I know that my father's grandmother in Holland was a psychic. I'm an empath and I'm very close to the veil, so I've seen a lot of things and I have a very good sixth sense and a very strong intuition, and he used to use me for a lot of his demonstrations and practicing because I was very susceptible to the hypnotism. So, you know, I learnt that all is not what it seems. You realise that there are powers that we're capable of that we don't utilise every day. The first time I saw a ghost was my stepfather's mother had died, and it was the first funeral that myself or my sister or brother had ever been to. It was a massive funeral. There was about 1,000 people there. She was a very God-fearing woman and very well known. Everybody called her Nana Parker. That night I was afraid, and my sister and I, we shared a bedroom. So I begged my sister, could I please, you know, sleep in her bed with her? So we were lying there together and I was just sort of crying a bit, and in through the door walked Nana Parker. She had a veil over her head with her walking stick, and we both screamed, and my stepfather came into the room and we told him, Nana Parker's just been in the room, Nana Parker's just been here. And he sat down on our bed and he said, I know. He said, she's just come in and seen me too. He said, she's just come to say goodbye and see that you're okay. I had a sister who died when she was 12, when I was 10. Anita was very, very special. She was a very beautiful person, and she was just pure love. I think she knew she was going to die, and left me with a beautiful painting that she'd done at school. I asked her about the people. I thought that this was me because I had quite fair hair then, and my sister had dark hair and she had very olivey skin. She took after my father. So I said to her, oh, is this me? And she said, no. She said, you're on the butterfly. And that shocked me. I said, why did you put me on the butterfly? And she said, because I want you to learn how to fly and to be free. And she was killed not long after that. And I've been told that by many, many psychics, that my sister is beside me all the time. Yeah, I just love the idea that she wanted me to be free, because we were not in a great situation back then. We had a stepfather who was rather schizophrenic or psychotic or something like that, and we often felt very vulnerable. I would have been about 3 or 4 years old, and in our front yard was a tree that had very pretty flowers. I decided I was going to make a salad from things in the garden, and I was picking the flowers off the tree. Suddenly this dragon appeared. It would have been the size of a small pony. He started to chase me around the tree. I ran like 3 times around the tree with this little thing loping after me. I shot off and ran to the house. Mum, there's a dragon in the garden. It's chased me around the tree. And my mother said, don't be ridiculous. There's no such thing as dragons. And I said, Mum, there's a dragon, come and see. So she said, all right. And she followed me out to the tree, and she stopped and noticed the flowers on the ground that I'd dropped. She said, did you pick these off the tree? And I said, yes, I was going to make a fruit salad. And she said, don't you ever touch anything from this tree. She said, it's an oleander tree. It's one of the most poisonous trees in the world, you know. She said, don't you ever put them in your mouth, you know, you'll die. After years of thinking about it, I realised that dragon had appeared and saved my life, probably. The first incidents that happened on the farm, one night my dog woke me up. She slept in our bedroom, and I thought, okay, she must want to go to the toilet. I wandered out to the kitchen. I looked at the clock. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. I went outside and I walked across the driveway to the fence where the gully paddock is down below, and I could see these lights. And then I noticed the colour of the lights. So there was blue and red and orange and green and yellow. And then I realised, oh, I'm not looking at anything on the road because it's a tree-lined road. That's something sitting down in my paddock, in the gully paddock. And I suddenly realised what I was looking at. I was shocked and afraid, because I was staring at a UFO sitting in my paddock. And I did mention it to some of the ladies when I took my children to Pony Club, and they said, oh, of course. They said, Mount Tamahanga is known for alien activity. They said, they've got some sort of landing pad up there. So they normalised it for me, but I knew then that, you know, what I had seen was real. One night on the farm, I have a terrible habit of falling asleep in the lounge room in front of TV, and suddenly there was this flash of light that illuminated the whole house, like the whole house just lit up. The light was on the inside of the house, I realised, after it happened again, and it just kept happening, just I thought, okay, there's a UFO above the house, and I had the impression that they were signalling me, that they wanted me to go outside. I walked to my son's bedroom. I didn't switch on any lights. I shook him awake and said, Keanu, don't turn the light on. I said, I just need you to come with me. Keanu, there's a UFO over the house. And he said, oh, for goodness sake. Mum, it's lightning. There was this flash of light that just, this like bright white neon light that just comes through the ceiling. And he went, oh my God, holy God, oh my God. He said, that's not lightning, that's not lightning. And I said, I know, shh.
But as we're walking through the dining room, that's when I first see it, and it was just the brightest, most neon white light you could ever imagine. But the strangest thing was that it had come through every single window in the whole house.
Well, it came through the ceiling as well.
There's I can't even count how many windows here. There must be about 13, 14 windows. Most of the doors are glass, and it had come through every single window, and I just turned about as wide as the light, and I was just freaking out a little bit. My mum seems to have the bright idea of wanting to go outside and see what it is. If I was who I am today, I probably would have walked out there as well to have a little look, but at that point in time I definitely did not want to be
terrified.
going anywhere outside. I wanted to stay with a roof over my head and a blanket over my head. There were a couple of things in this house that would hang around, probably not malicious, but definitely felt like that some ways for a young 4'1", 20 kilo kid.
I can tell you that Keanu, he would continually talk about this person that would appear in his bedroom. When we finally got a cleanser to come and to do a clearing for the house, she would work with the entities that were in the house, and she told us that the little boy had attached himself to Keanu because Keanu was a sympathizer, and the little boy had been killed, had fallen off a horse and was killed. And the reason he attached himself to Keanu is that Keanu had fallen off his little pony, Jazzy. The woman told us that entities often attach themselves to people who have similar experiences because they can relate to them. And she said this is why the little boy had attached himself to Keanu.
A lot of my friends are very understanding and accommodating, and you know
they forgive him his mother.
Yeah. You know, I think it's very important to be in touch with your spiritual side and in touch with what you feel and what you believe in. And I think if you believe in something, you should never hide it. You should always fight for it. So it does make me a little bit proud to have a mother like that, despite the embarrassment it brings sometimes. But it's how it is. That's who my mum is. So that's just, if you don't like it, then that's tough cookies, isn't it?
So this is the first book that I've published, The Taniwha of Matariki. The artist, Heidi Holland, I met her here in Matakana. She's done an incredible job of the illustrations. She's a very spiritual person, absolutely beautiful. Here are the two butterflies that Heidi has put on the last page, saying one is you and one is your sister, to just hark back to the painting that my sister did for me. Yeah, and you can see the taniwha in the water, watching the children play on the beach.